the news, federal government moves to improve debt recovery capability. Over 400 Nigerians stranded in Saudi Arabia return home. And Niger foils coup attempt days before presidential inauguration. It's glad to have you join us on News Now at this time. I am Oyi Adekunle. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved 316.5 million naira for the second phase of the project Lighthouse, a project set to expand the debt recovery capability of revenue-generating agencies. And this was disclosed by the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning at today's FEC meeting, presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in the absence of President Muhammadu Buhari. Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed explains that the project is necessary to help government recover debt owed by individuals and companies.
The Finance, Budget and National Planning presented a council to memo seeking approval for the second phase of Project Lighthouse, which is a project that is meant to expand, a component that is meant to expand the debt recovery capability of the project. Messrs. Carter Consulting, a Nigerian technology company who has worked with the ministry for 3 years, won the contract, first phase of the contract in May 2019. And the second phase that is approved today is in the sum of 316.5 million naira. Many companies and individuals who owe government agencies have refused to honor their obligations, yet are still being engaged and transacted with and even being paid on government payment platforms like GIFMIS and the Treasury Single Account. The ministry in 2019 issued a directive to all ministries, departments and agencies to aggregate and send to the ministry a list of all debtors and the outstanding amounts that are owed to government agencies.
Also briefing newsmen, the Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika said Council also approved the contract of 10.5 billion naira for the provision of airport management solutions for the international airports in the country.
Provision of airport management solution for the international airports of Abuja and that of Lagos and Kano, Port Harcourt and also Enugu. It is awarded in favor of Mrs. Arlington Securities Nigeria Limited in the sum of 10,594,057,618 naira and 20 kobo. One is common use terminal equipment, which is queued systems that are required for sharing airport resources in accordance with requirement of IATA Recommendation 1797. This allows flexible sharing of resources for check-in and boarding, such as servers, workstations, associated peripherals between all airlines and handling agents present at the airport.
Over 400 Nigerian migrants previously stranded in Saudi Arabia have returned to the country. They were received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja and proceeded on quarantine at the Federal Capital Territory Hajj camp in line with the revised COVID-19 protocols handed down by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. This latest addition brings the number of returnees from different parts of the world to over 3,000 within the space of 2 months.
This set of returnees, evacuees, are from Saudi Arabia, and they have come in 3 batches. The first batch came on Monday, and there were 255. Yesterday, we had the second batch, there were 398. And today, at the airport right now, the third batch just arrived, and they are 418. Now, all of them will be staying in this facility, and that is why you have the FCT director of Hajj camp, because this is Hajj camp. Now, this provides accommodation for them. There is a little slant or change in what protocol we were observing before. I need to let you know that we are doing rapid testing now, and so The first set that came in January, they were here for 8 days minimum, but now they are just going to be here for 3 days. They will arrive the first day, the second day we'll do the capturing, then we'll do the testing, and then on the third day they get their result and they will be ready to move.
I would like to commend the government of Saudi Arabia for the partnership in the recent evacuations, and I would like to also enlist support of our people to welcome these people back home. They've gone through a lot of trauma. Now they're back home. We must ensure that we help them settle in. I'll give you a quick rundown of our profiling from January till now. In January 2021, we were able to profile 1,250 Nigerians that returned from Saudi Arabia. In March from Libya, we profiled 117. And right now, with the recent people coming back, we've been able to profile 537 and they've all been captured. So this helps the government to be able to plan towards any future intervention, to ensure that these people are being able to integrate into society properly and they are properly rehabilitated.
And in health matters, 2 weeks after news broke out of a strange ailment in Kano State, the National Drugs Law and Enforcement Agency, NAFDAC, has finally confirmed the cause of the ailment. According to the agency, harmful chemicals sold as citric acid, also known as Dansami, was the source of the illness, which claimed not less than 4 lives and got over 300 persons hospitalized. Director General of NAFDAC, Mojisola Adeyeye, disclosed this in Kano on Tuesday, shortly after meeting the state governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, at the state government house. Adeyeye claimed that the chemical was allegedly smuggled into the country through unidentifiable sources. She added that 3 out of the 5 sampled products were not registered with the agency and assured that a comprehensive report of the laboratory test would be announced as soon as investigations are completed. And no fewer than 8 people have been killed with 4 others injured in fresh attacks by bandits in Chikun, Giwa and Kajuru local government areas of Kaduna State. Confirming the incident in a statement on Wednesday, the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, said the armed bandits shot at a vehicle at Kanawa's Zankoro in Chikun local government area, which forced the vehicle to somersault, leading to the death of 6 persons and leaving 4 others injured. In another incident, armed bandits attacked locals at Iburu village in Kajuru local government area and killed 1 person. The latest attacks come hours after police in the state intercepted about 10 bandits numbering about 10 at the Kaduna-Beningwari road while the criminals were attempting to kidnap travelers. And a high court sitting in Kaduna State has again adjourned the trial of the embattled leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife Zinat to May 25th, 2021 for the continuation of hearing on the case. At the resumed sitting today, the prosecuting counsel, Dari Bayero, finally rested his case by presenting his last witness, while El-Zakzaky's counsel is expected to open their defense during the next adjourned date. El-Zakzaky and his wife are standing trial on an 8-count charge bordering on alleged culpable homicide, unlawful assembly and disruption of public peace, amongst others, and have been in detention since their arrest in December 2015 following a bloody clash between IMN members and soldiers in Zaria, Kaduna State. Over the last 10 years, about 170 billion United States dollars have left the shores of Nigeria by way of illicit financial flows. The civil society organizations led by the Human and Environmental Development Agency, HEDA, made this known at the presentation of a critical review of UK and UAE policies, laws and practices in financial and non-financial institutions. Folashade Ogunride reports.
With the latest corruption ranking by Transparent International placing Nigeria as the 149th most corrupt country in the world, there are indications that corruption is perceived to have worsened in the country within the last 1 year. On this premise, the Human and Environmental Development Agenda, HEDA, in collaboration with other partners, reviewed the loopholes in the laws and policies governing the financial and non-financial systems in the United Kingdom and the United Arab Emirates. Speaking on illicit financial flows, the Executive Secretary, Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Sadiq Rada, said corruption has devastating effects on the economy of any nation.
The Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption is fully in support of HEDA and all other stakeholders that will add value in the fight against corruption in general, but more specifically the issue of illicit financial flows. Illicit financial flows is devastating, it has serious consequences, and eventually it can crumble countries. We have to work very hard within our country to ensure that the funds are not taken out.
According to HEDA Chairman Olarinwaju Suraju, the exercise revealed that the federal government lost about $170 billion from 2004 to 2013 to money laundering.
We've painstakingly for over the period of 2 years reviewed these laws and policies to see how it is possible for just 13 law enforcement officers in Nigeria to have about 216 properties in the UAE. I mean, this is a red flag for any country that is interested in preventing the illicit financial flow of funds and assets to a jurisdiction like the UAE.
Stakeholders also charged the government of the United Arab Emirates to help facilitate the return of $170 billion laundered to the UAE.
The UAE government has to do more now to help us return the part of the $170 billion that has gone into the UAE, whether as cash transfers or as investments in properties. Those nations have to take more responsibility based on their commitment under UNCAC and within the anti-money laundering laws that they have also signed or pact that they have entered into with Nigeria. It's only when we see this type of collaboration that we can stop these monies from leaving the country.
Nigeria is a signatory to the United Nations Convention on Money Laundering, which grants member countries the leverage to cooperate to check the flow of illicit money to their various countries. If such cooperation can be sustained, there are hopes that such criminality might be reduced to its barest minimum. Folashade Ogrinde, TV360 News.
And rural women in Delta State have begun receiving 20,000 naira cash grants from the federal government through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The disbursement is part of relief packages aimed at bringing succor to vulnerable women in the rural areas, especially with the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Details in this next report. Scores of women from rural communities in Delta State are gathered in this hall to benefit from the NSIP's Poverty Alleviation Initiative. Each person eagerly awaits their turn to receive the 20,000 naira one-off grants made available by the federal government. After verification, one after the other, they are called up to receive their cash. The focal person of the NSIP says the initiative is aimed at improving the welfare of young and elderly rural women in the country.
It's a program of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, just to pushing the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, to make sure that some of these rural women who are small-scale enterprise will be able to run their small business and manage all that they have, even under the pandemic.
Some of the beneficiaries who could not hide their excitement thanked the government for the thoughtful gesture, saying they will put the money to good use.
I'll take set up small business, like I did do snacks before. When I reach house now, I use and carry flour, buy groundnut oil, then do my small business. With this one now, if I carry one bag of flour, then buy little things from inside, and with that, after I do the bag of flour, I know how much I will get from inside.
This morning, I'll use it to start little business, and I know it will heap up into a greater one.
It means a lot to me. I can use it to do more things, better things. It will radiate some poverty from the family.
For some other beneficiaries, they are simply thrilled that for the first time they are receiving direct financial assistance from the government.
Normally before, we normally say the federal government are not trying. But with this today, we will continue to say Nigeria is the best. I am happy to be a Nigerian. I'm happy at least for the first time I'm eating something from the government, so I really appreciate it.
To ensure the smooth running of the exercise, authorities have adopted strict measures to organize the process.
We are dealing with over 3,000 persons. So the process of doing the capturing and making sure you put all of them together, these are small challenges, but it's not an issue. Capturing data is not an easy thing. So, and if you don't do that one, we won't be able to give account. We'll not be able to be accountable. We'll not be able to say, oh, this is the certain number we have taken.
The cash grant project in Delta State was flagged off on the 23rd of March and is targeted at empowering rural women in all 25 local government areas of the state. Onyadekunle, TV360, Nigeria. Let's take a break here, but still to come, Nigerians to monitor progress of federal projects using new app. Details on this and more after this break.
Give him his shoes somewhere here, his phone and everything.
Don't do like that to Leone.
Thank you. So, bye-bye. Hey, Oga, where do you think you are going? Home.
You never shake body.
Eh?
You never shake body.
Shake body, see?
Huh? You never shake body.
Eh? Shake body. I don't get combo for my body.
You go take for here. Sit down there.
Down.
What's this man still doing here?
They say I do shake body. I shake body, I shake body. They say I do this. And I say I don't get color.
You are asking for money.
Sorry, ma'am.
Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
Corruption, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world. A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it. Use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Glad to have you back. Now here's a quick reminder of some of our top stories tonight. The Federal Executive Council FEC has approved 316.5 million naira for the second phase of the project Lighthouse, a project set to expand the debt recovery capability of revenue-generating agencies of the government. Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed explained that the project is necessary to help government recover debt owed by individuals and companies. And we also told you that the National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency NAFDAC has confirmed the cause of the reported strange illness in Kano as a harmful chemical sold as citric acid, also known as Dansami. Director General of NAFDAC Mojisola Adeyeye said the chemical was allegedly smuggled into the country through unidentifiable sources and assured that a comprehensive report of a laboratory test would be announced as soon as investigations are completed. In case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. The Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Akin Abayomi, has emphasized the need for government at all levels to ensure effective COVID-19 vaccines accessibility and distribution. Abayomi, who gave the charge at a COVID-19 vaccine summit, also stressed the role of tackling misinformation and effective ways of communicating vaccination in Nigeria. Our correspondent Mojisola Matomi reports.
The summit themed COVID-19 vaccine administration in Nigeria, strategies to manage perception and overcome hesitancy, highlights the roles of governments and stakeholders in promoting the vaccine. The Lagos State Commissioner of Health disclosed that since the vaccination exercises commenced in the state, no death has been recorded.
We've had 9 serious adverse events, in other words, people with things like anaphylactic shock or collapse, and about 306 minor or non-serious adverse events, which is not bad. So where nobody has died in Lagos. We have achieved 0.5% herd immunity with this campaign, and we have just over 14 million more doses to administer to get them.
Abayomi equally noted the importance of biosecurity and why both governments and citizens must partner to secure the environment.
Overcrowding, lack of appropriate sanitation, waste disposal, the toxicity in the environment makes us as a mega city a sitting duck for a pathogen that is contagious, whether it's airborne or waterborne. The general trend is that we are destroying our ecosphere. And the moment you start to destroy the ecological environment in which you live, you're tampering with your biosphere.
Also speaking, a professor of virology highlighted the benefits of AstraZeneca vaccine, saying it has enhanced reduction in hospitalization and death.
In places where the vaccine had been administered, there are now very encouraging reports that the death rate, the case fatality rate, the morbidity rate, that is people falling sick as a result of this infection, those rates have crashed, and well, in a way, Lagos State is showing typical example.
On communication, experts advise on ways to tackle misinformation and educate people on the benefits of the vaccine.
Why we have things like the FDA now and the regulations is because people actually challenge vaccines, and so it put more responsibilities on medical practitioners, on researchers to be more thorough. So, hesitancy in a way is a way of challenging your thinking. Prove to us that this works. So we should not take all resistance as people just being nasty or people just being resistant. We have a responsibility to prove, and this is why our research has to come out with evidence.
So far, over 142,000 persons have received the first jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine in Lagos since the exercise commenced. Mojisola Matomi, TV360 Lagos.
We'll take another short break here and return with business updates. Don't go away. Welcome back. We now join Folashade Ogunride for the latest in business. Over to you now, Shade.
Thank you very much, Oyin. Now in business news, the federal government says it has concluded plans to deploy an app that will enable Nigerians to monitor and evaluate ongoing government projects across the country. The monitoring application, which had been developed by the federal government, will be installed at the sites of every 300 ongoing projects across the country. Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, disclosed this during a visit to the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Benin, on Tuesday. Agba, whose visit was part of an ongoing effort to assess the utilization of the 49 billion naira intervention fund released by the federal government to 52 federal health institutions in the country, said the technological innovation is to ensure integrity and transparency in the handling of infrastructural projects in the country. We take a break here and return with stock market review. Please stay with us. The Nigerian stock market is still in the negative territory as investors are cautiously buying in this era they refer to as an era of growing uncertainties. Now, it wasn't a good trading day for the Nigerian stock market as trading closed today in the reds with a total loss of 0.57%. And we can also see that this led to a close at 39,045 basis points. Now, similarly, the market capitalization also lost over 110 billion naira to close at 20.428 trillion naira at the close of trading today. Now, of course, when we take our review, we take a look at the top losers as well as the top gainers. Now, we can see that DAR Communications, Wayne Bank, as well as UPL and UAC Group had a total loss of 22 kobo. On the other hand, we can see that 4 companies topped our gainers charts. We can see that Leakage Assurance, Prestige, as well as Mayor PLC and also NEM Insurance also topped our gainers charts with a combined gain of 3 naira 30 kobo. Now let's take a look at the market summary rather. We can see that 347 million shares traded hands in 3,990 deals. Now let's take a look at what's going on the foreign scene. We can see that unlike yesterday, Dow Jones is in the green with 0.85% gain. Nikkei and FTSE not really doing well with a combined, now we can see that FTSE is in the reds with 0.86% and Nikkei is in the reds with also 0.86%. Well, that's it on Stock Market Review. Back to you now, Oyin, for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you for that update, Folashade. Moving on now to the foreign scene, when Niger's government says it has thwarted an attempted coup by a military unit who tried to seize the presidential palace in the country's capital, Niamey, in the early hours of today. The attackers from a nearby airbase fled when the guards responded with heavy shelling. The government spokesperson said several people have been arrested. The attack took place 2 days before the swearing-in of new President Mohamed Bazoum in the first democratic handover of power since Niger's independence. He is due to succeed Mahamadou Issoufou, who is stepping down after serving 2 5-year terms. And it's now time for Entertainment Report on News Now.
Nollywood veteran Pete Edochie is here again with another controversial statement. The movie star has blamed feminism on the rise in domestic violence and broken marriages. According to the patriarch of the Edochie dynasty, domestic violence has become rampant in marriages because women have refused to do what they are supposed to do. Recall a few weeks ago he advised women to creatively adopt ways to discourage their husbands from cheating. BB Niger 2019 housemate Cindy Okafor has taken to social media to share a piece of advice with fans. In a recent post on her Instagram story, the reality star made sure to address the fans, most especially parents, telling them one of the best things they can do for their children. According to Sydney, it would be best if parents can make sure that their children have dual citizenship. The reality star added that dual citizenship should be Nigeria alongside any other developed country. Nigerian singer Timi Dakolo and his wife Busola are no doubt goals to a number of fans, and they recently took to social media to mark their wedding anniversary. They both took to their Instagram page to celebrate their marriage journey using photos, videos and words. The couple got married in 2012 and the union is blessed with 3 children. A happy wedding anniversary to the Dakolos. And that is all that we have for you in the entertainment segment of News Now.
And in sports, the postponed African Cup of Nations qualifier match between Sierra Leone and Benin Republic will now take place during the June international window. The Group L fixture, initially billed for Tuesday at the National Stadium, Freetown, did not take place owing to a COVID-19 controversy. However, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has announced that both teams will now square up against one another in 3 months' time. The game will determine the last team to secure a place for Cameroon 2022. Well, that's the latest update on News Now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Oyi Adekunle.